It's officially that time of year again. Arizona football kicks off their spring season with their first spring practice this morning. And Coach Brennan, before we get to your goals, your vision for the team this spring, I think it's important that we catch up on all that we've missed these past 3 months with the program. You shared yesterday that you had 3 priorities for the team this offseason. What are they?
We talked about cementing the culture, being the first priority, and then moving on to cementing the personnel and then cementing the performance. And each one of those has, really critical aspects to it. I think with our culture, we're always talking about Redline and the core beliefs of Redline. I just talked to the team about it right now at the end of practice, right? Our core beliefs there are effort, execution, and accountability, and just, having a really high standard in all those areas for our team, just being a firm foundation of our culture. And then personnel, it started with our staff and building our staff and making sure we had the right people in place to lead these men, on this journey that we're going to go on. And we feel great about the moves we made there, and just the differences that these new coaches bring to the table, I think, is something that the players and I know I am excited about. And the last thing is the performance, and that was cementing the performance. And when you talk about that, it starts in the weight room with Coach Carroll and that staff, and just the incredible growth we've seen there. I mentioned it yesterday, 500 pounds of added muscle collectively to our team in that 7.5 or 7 week period. We feel great about that, and kind of just how in shape we are and how physically ready we are for spring practice. And then, the last part of that I think is really critical is, schematically, right? We have new coaches in our leadership roles in each phase of the game, offense, defense, and special teams. And so there's a lot of scheme for us to learn there. And, looking at today, that's something we got to make a move on, right? Because it's moving fast. All of a sudden, the intensity, the pressure, the excitement is elevated because we're at spring practice and we're out on the field together. Now we got to really drill down on that execution and knowing exactly what we're doing and where we're going. And that's going to be fun as we take these steps in the rest of spring practice.
I want to dive more into that cementing performance, because past 3 months, these guys have been working tirelessly with Coach Carroll and his staff. And from what I saw this offseason, competition was always brewing. They had numbers posted in the weight room. They were always competing in different drills. What was your impression of what they were doing this offseason with Coach Carroll?
Well, I just think Coach Carroll and his staff just did an incredible job, and the players answered the call, right? Like, we really challenged them to really invest in this time of year. That first phase, we refer to that as our foundation phase, right? And so all the gains that we made in our speed and our strength and our change of direction with Coach Carroll and that staff is so critical, because those things translate to football. And so watching the guys, the energy and the enthusiasm in the workouts, in the weight room, it was really off the charts. I mean, people would walk through the building that didn't know what was going on, visitors to our office, and they were like, oh my gosh, we walk by the weight room and it's crazy in there. And I love it, because our players are just really leaning into that staff and really buying into the culture.
34 new players joined you this semester on campus. I know today was the first day that you got to see them on the field, but what has been your impression of the group as a whole off of the field?
Well, off the field, I mean, those new guys had to be fast to buy in, right? And I think that's a choice that every player has to make at some point. And I love where we're at with that group. All those guys, whether it's the freshmen, that went to their winter formal 5 weeks earlier, or the guys that are coming from 4-year schools that have been playing football for the last 2, 3, or 4 years. All of those guys came in with open minds and open hearts, ready to attack the work that was ahead of them. And like I said, Coach Carroll and his staff, and then our returners did an incredible job of welcoming them into the family and helping them understand what the Bear Down Brotherhood is all about.
What is your top priority for the program this spring?
Really making sure that Redline is who we are, right? That effort, are we 100? That execution, do we prove it every single day? And I think those things are simple to say, but they need to be acted on. And it needs to be one of those things that so often, I think, all of us, we say things, but then our actions go a different way. That doesn't work in this game, right? What you say has to be reflected in what you do. And I think that is the huge focus for us. Then that last piece, accountability, which is on the field, off the field. On the field, what your assignment is, who you're supposed to block, what your effort is. You're accountable to yourself all the time, and you're accountable to your teammates all the time. And so making Redline absolutely deep-rooted in who we are is the focus of spring for me.
In Wildcat Nation, you can come and watch Coach Brennan and his team every Saturday. Every Saturday practice will be housed in Arizona Stadium. However, the times will fluctuate, so make sure you're keeping up with us on socials and checking ArizonaWildcats.com for those different times. Coach Brennan, thank you so much for your time today, and we're looking forward to this spring.
It's going to be a great spring. Bear down.
Bear down. Thank you.